Really appreciate everyone setting aside a few minutes today to join us, and I promise we will keep this short and sweet, right to the point. We're also recording this, so if you want to access it at a later date, we'll make the recording available to everybody. My name is John Carlston. I'm the Vice President of Brand Development for FranConnect, and actually going to be out in your convention coming up next week. I'm looking forward to meeting everybody there. This goes back to a couple years ago or so when I met Jonathan at a Google conference for partners. We had kind of crossed paths before then, but sat down with him there, and as we're a Google partner in franchising, and got to sit down with some of the key Google executives to talk about ultimately how to best facilitate franchisees' growth in their local communities. And as a result of those conversations and several initiatives that we've been able to do together since then, we're now at a point where we've grown our relationship and we're ready to really start facilitating the success of those of you in your local communities and how you can grow your business. I'm going to start by recapping some efforts that have already taken place, and I'm just going to give a quick shout out to your corporate marketing team and Jonathan and the investments that they've made. We work with about 600 franchise brands and hundreds of thousands of franchisees actually across the globe, and very few brands have the investment and commitment that oxifresh does for providing more tools and resources to their franchisees. So you may not realize it, but I get to see all the other big brands out there and how they're going about things and the kind of support they provide to their franchisees. And your system does a very, very good job of that. So far, what we've been working on, and actually Joshua's done a monumental efforts there out of corporate and helping along with this initiative. We started by going in and claiming and optimizing kind of the key presences that are important for showing up locally and ultimately getting in front of more customers. So we've already, and Jonathan actually, or Joshua's done a lot of these efforts himself. We've already gone through and claimed and optimized the Google and Facebook listings. Anyone that hasn't had that done yet, by all means in this process, we'll catch that and we'll make sure that gets addressed. But that was a very, very important starting point, not only because you want to have optimized presences there so that you show up higher in search, but also because we need access and the ability to go in and respond to reviews that take place on these networks, which I'll speak to in a moment, but that's a very, very important part of growing your business today. Also, Jonathan and his team invested in syndicating your local business data out to the primary data providers. And this screen I could probably speak for 10 minutes on alone, but I'll keep it real short and concise. All the different business directories out there that people can find you on, and then ultimately that make you more and more important in the eyes of Google and increase your ranking when people search you out on Google. They all get their business data from a handful of very important sources of information. And some of those, the most important ones are Infogroup, Axiom, Localese, and Factual. And those folks then, when we provide them with your business data, they then push that data out to over 300 online directories. And we'll recognize that obviously consumers don't use all 300 of those directories regularly. It's not so important that those 300 are used by consumers. Really, when Google, though, is looking at local businesses and determining which ones are most relevant and should rank highest in search results, a very important driver of that is them seeing that you also show up everywhere else and on all these other 300 directories. So that's why we care about it. I can share with you that most brands average between 200 and 300% increase in accurate listings as a result of these efforts. So this is not manually going in and touching everything. This is us actually paying those directory providers to syndicate your data out. And actually built into your intranet view, you can even see what's been done and see the fact that we've syndicated the data out and even we've resolved some of the data out there on the different directories. So that's all been done, very, very important. And then also something that we recently just kind of wrapped up in terms of building in is some reporting on your actual SEO rankings. So when we go out and we manually claim Google and Facebook and work on optimizing those, when we pay these directories to go out and syndicate your data, ultimately we want to know what kind of impact it's having. So we have software which will in real time go out and identify how you're ranking in different search queries on the important search engines. So this is just a snapshot, an example of what we can see. And the data is accurate as of the time it's run, but the thing with Google is it's constantly changing. So you could be the #1 search result today, and you could be the #3 tomorrow, and then you could go back up to #1. So it's constantly in flux. But what's important is we're keeping our eyes on that, and we're aware of the impact that the efforts are having. So here's one example, oxifresh of Fresno. They had an 800% increase of the number of listings that they had showing up on Google, which is fantastic. And then here, if I go into the actual individual view, we can see that they have 2 positions on the top 20 on Maps and Organic. Maps, they're #1. Organic, they're #7 for the search green carpet cleaning. They're #1 for commercial carpet cleaning, #1 for upholstery cleaning. So there's really, really great results taking place here. And it's all a result of a combination of efforts. There's not really one silver bullet that makes it all happen magically. It's a combination of elements. So that's the organic activity that we've been doing so far that Jonathan and his team invested in to take place on your behalf. Going forward, we're now ready to roll out the second phase, which is really where we roll our sleeves up and start taking more concerted efforts to actually capture customers. The most direct and important element of that is pay-per-click. So another thing that they've invested in on your behalf is building out all these landing pages for pay-per-click campaigns, and even gone so far as to making sure they're mobilely optimized, which is really, really important because a lot of the search that takes place by consumers that are actually intending on making a purchase or a buying decision take place on mobile devices. So we've now rolled out a program. Again, we're an official partner in franchising with Google, so we get a lot of great support and resources from them to ensure that this is successful and effective. But we're building out these pay-per-click campaigns for you, utilizing all the great landing pages that corporate has built, and then ultimately tracking all the efforts that take place not only on a per location basis, but also across the whole system, and rolling that data into your dashboard so you can see, once you participate in the pay-per-click program, you'll see real-time data as to what's taking place within your campaign. So one thing that's really, really important is with pay-per-click, the transparency of the results of your actions and where your budget's gone. There are a lot of companies out there that sell pay-per-click management but don't have a level of transparency, and that creates a level of distrust with your partner. So what we're very cognizant of and very careful to do is give you absolute 100% access to everything that's taking place. Also showing you where we're having success, and I realize these are generic examples from other clients, so these aren't actual carpet cleaning results, but we're going to identify what works in every given market, and it'll enable us to become smarter as we go forward and then become more impactful in each market as we go forward. So it'll be effective and it'll generate results from day one, but it increases its effectiveness the longer you do it and the more budget you throw at it. So suffice to say, we analyze the heck out of this data. We're doing it on each location, each region, across the whole system, and by campaign, so that we can ultimately make the most of your marketing spend. Now, if we're going to invest to get folks to come to our presences and see that we exist, another very, very important element is ensuring that your very good reputation is exposed to those customers and that we do everything we can to grow it. And actually, I'll give another kudos to you all. Again, working with hundreds of franchise brands, I get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. Your brand reputation is fantastic. It's actually exceptional. And the amount of reviews that you're able to generate, I know that you use Listen 360 to get customer feedback and whatnot, and you also have emails that go out to your customers to drive them to your Google listings to solicit reviews from them. You're taking some very specific efforts that a lot of brands aren't doing, and the results speak for themselves. I mean, as we went back a couple slides and saw that you've got all that great organic search results and you're showing up very, very highly in different searches, all of that is a result of a number of things, and a very important driver is that reputation. That said, what we've found in working with all these brands is the #1 most effective way to get more online reviews, unfortunately, is not just relying upon technology. And I say that because we're a technology company. The reality is nothing is more effective than shaking a customer's hand, thanking them for their business, and explaining to them how referrals are a very important driver of your growth, and asking them to share the positive experience they've had with you. So how we go about that is we provide you with cards that you can hand to your customers with a landing page that's very specific to your location, and that's also, by the way, mobilely optimized, that will direct link them to the review sites that we care about. So we can give them a direct link to your Google, your Facebook, your Yelp page. But what's important is it started with you shaking their hands, your staff shaking their hands, communicating to them how much you appreciate their business. Having that in-person dialogue is really what drives the effectiveness of this kind of program. And then making it as easy as possible for them to follow through and take action is the second most important element. Because it's actually kind of a big thing to ask of somebody. Can you go out of your way to go online and write a review about me? It seems straightforward, but people just generally don't want to do that. So it's a big ask. And if we're going to ask them to do that, we need to make it as absolutely simple as possible for them and give them choices. Because if I only gave them one option, some of them may not have a login to that site or may not even know how to leave a review at that site. So we want to give them multiple options to increase the likelihood that they're actually going to have the opportunity to follow through and leave reviews. So this is very, very important. It's important not only because it impacts customers' desire to do business with you when they see how great your reputation is, but it's also a very important driver for your organic search results. The more reviews, the more user-generated content you have on all these presences, the better your organic rankings are going to be. Outside of user-generated content, you also need to have your own local content published out to these different presences. And with our software and with our team here, that we have a team of writers, we'll actually create social posts for you and publish them out to your Google and Facebook pages to, again, ensure that you have relevant content, you have a consistent feed of content going out to those local presences to not only have a good experience for the customer when they see you there, but also drive up your organic results. And then ultimately, when we first engage with you all, we're going to go in and utilize our own software and all these tools and resources that Jonathan has invested in for you to run a snapshot report of what your local market looks like and how you compare in the competitive landscape within your community. We call it a local marketing assessment, and ultimately we're going to share with you how your customers see you and how Google sees you and what we can do to impact that in a positive manner to help you grow your business. So we do so in a webinar and a phone conversation, and in that phone conversation we'll also explain to you how the rest of this program works, how our pay-per-click program works, how the reputation management and building programs work, and the social content, and kind of help explain further the importance of all those and how they impact you. So with that said, I realize we're all about to head out to convention, and again, I'm really excited to see you all there, and I'd be happy to address any questions in person. But we also have a team of local marketing consultants that are going to be reaching out to all of you. So I'm going to launch a quick poll, and this is really just so we can prioritize our efforts, because we're actually going to go through and start pulling all this data on each of your locations. So we want to prioritize which locations we go do that for now versus a week or two from now. So if you please just respond quickly to the poll, let us know if we should be reaching out to you this week, or if next week's a better time, maybe after you get back from convention, or even if it's the week following, just choose option 2, and then that way we know which locations we need to jump on and start creating these marketing assessments for. With that, if anyone has questions, feel free to chat them into the webinar box. And if I don't have any pop in here in the next few seconds, then any questions that do come in, I'll respond directly to you, or our team will make sure that they address them when we reach out to you. With that, I thank you very much for your time. I hope that this was educational and that you're as excited about this program as we are. And I look forward to meeting all of you in a handful of days out there in Colorado.